biography. I don't usually narrate this much. I started it yesterday as an accident, really. Okay, so go to adventure, and let's go back to 1. What all do you say? Yep, okay. Alright, so I'm gonna just go back to just getting the writing done. Just getting it did and done. Oh no. Introduction before absentation, Rose. Oh my goodness, type what I want you to type, keyboard. Today it's not a blog post kind of day. Is this like, it's not. It's just not. Okay, that's cool. That is cool. Mark it off the list. All right. Universe. within the soft deadline. What now? Okay. How can you have me stay? Alright, so she's already been forced out, so that's not the song. Rebuke me not by indignation, but according to thy great mercy. Calling prayer, so it's so good and familiar. Sometimes it's funeral music, which would make sense given that it's shared by Fellows for the Lord would make sense too, given how she receives her redemption in the story. Too many editors. Okay. staff work. Yeah, sounds going to be for a different project. I already know that. Okay. Work it like strawberry picking. Work it like the strong with the strawberries. Right. Ooh. I want numbers. It will help me keep track. The sections: acceptance, courage, wisdom. I apologize. If you were planning on keeping me in the background as a sort of white noise, as if we were in a digital shared workspace, I apologize. I'm about to do quite a bit of singing as I write because the boon for the article is going to be a song that will also be part of my larger seconds project, which is volume 1 of which is in progress on Inkshares as a draft. So I'm actually skipping into volume 2 in order to get this ditty written. Carol of the Red Shoes. Sections, serenity, structure. Boom. Ish. Alright. Handmade red shoes and traps. That's interesting. Has okay. Right. So we have the handmade red shoes. The traps and the store-bought and the purchased red shoes. Okay. I'll go like this. There. That's how we keep track. Though, I should go the handmade red shoes, the purchased red shoes. The Dance Macabre. I want to see if I can. That's still playing. Turn that off. As a reminder, I work in tabs, so I'm not going to be able to see what's going on in the chat till the wrap up portion where I summarize what I got done and respond to all comments made on both YouTube and Twitch. That's to help me focus on my writing voice. Thank you, Siren. Thank you. Thank you for doing your job. Thank you for doing your job. Be thankful that there are emergency vehicles, Rose. Be thankful so that they don't frustrate you when they interrupt you. Yeah, so.
Dans my cab.
Dans ma cab. Thank you. Okay.
Dans my cab.
My cab. Alright, so. It's not quite a syllable right there. So it's 3 syllables, which is necessary for this. Alright. Executioner's house, the executioner's axe, a reminder that there are things that you're not going to be able to change. You're always going to have to live with it. Executioner's help. A lot of this note-taking is to help get my brain into gear so that it actually starts writing the damn song. And I might change it from Carol of the Red Shoes to Carol of the Danse Macabre. Danse Macabre. I don't speak French. I need to get on Duolingo. So I apologize if in the background me singing to myself disrupts your own writing, just like I have things in separate windows, and then I actually mute my computer so I don't hear people. But at 11 o'clock, that's when the wrap-up discussion will happen. You know, in addition to me having talked to myself so much. Handmade life. Handmade life, healed instincts. I mean, with that whole section about, that's like, it would make sense to actually just name this Carol of the Danse Macabre. But it's about the red shoes. It's about the red shoes on the surface. And the Danse Macabre would be an element. Clearly, it gets its own stanza, but it's not the driving force of the poem, song, carol. The transformation during the life before the ultimate Danse Macabre is the point of the carol. So, returning to the handmade life, healing instincts. To the handmade life, healing instincts, and okay. Okay, so actually, the first section ends with the dance with the dance of death, and the second section ends with a death giver providing help. Then it could be that dance of life or temperance. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. Good. I have the outline for the Carol Decided. Now I just have to sing and write the damn thing. And yes, I did say sing and write because it's typically how I do these sorts of things. All right. Alrighty then. Ba-bum. I was going to do a thing. I was going to write down this note to myself. Right? As you can see here, 3 sections: acceptance, courage, wisdom. 3 stanzas each. So we have these 3 items under each, and then within those 3 stanzas, each get 6 lines. So now I've set up this tab here with the blinking cursor for the 6 lines of that stanza on the handmade red shoes. So in the archetypal story, she has made the shoes for herself. She is creative, and she is taking towards her survival, her status in life. All right. There could be an element of layering. Alright, I'm gonna do a thing to try to count those syllables. All right. 33 is not divisible by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what I should have done. I should have just done that out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. It's a little different each time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try this again. 1, 2. Actually, get that in there too, so it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. That's also more swingy than I want it to be. Alright, so that's the syllable count that I'm going for with this song, folks, in case you haven't figured it out. And now that I've figured out how to just sing out 5 syllables at a time and just count the ones, rows. Should have just been doing that. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Which actually could technically work with crossover. It just wouldn't be as strict as what this structure's going with. But 32, when doubled, makes 64, not 54. And you would actually need to do that repetition. No, that's 54 lines. No. You would need to do it in order to get it to end on a 5. You would need to do it 5 times. So you would need 5. "54 lines total times 5 makes for 270. 32, 270 divided by 32. I don't have enough space to do it 5 times. But that could have worked. Unless I shorten it? Make a bridge? Yeah, no, Rose. Make it simple on yourself. Make it simple on yourself. And make a musical stanza or refrain of some kind with 30 syllables to it. You just came up with one that's 32 notes. Come up with one that's 30 notes. Just do it. Just do it, Rose. Also, why lower notes? That's a bit cheerful for the Red Shoes. Let's be honest. The melody you came up with is a little cheerful for the Red Shoes. So let's spin. See, that was so good. Skills for a dowry. Skills for a dowry. That was such a good song. Just do that again. With more lines to it. The strawberries. How did the strawberries sound? You know the lyrics to Strawberry Picking. Don't play. Come on, Rose. Also, you got 54 lines. Can be a beat up tempo. It's not chipper up tempo. More frenetic, more, why the hell am I dancing to this? This is upsetting, kind of a thing. Which would make sense for the story. But the little man saw her as she went strawberry picking. They welcomed her in, what she had she gave, slim though her pickings. They gave her a broom, sent her out the back, strawberry pickings. Whilst her pretty face made her word as gold, kings for the picking. For the picking. Right, okay. The Red Shoes. One, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I am going to roundabout it, I would have to do special math for that. And I don't want to do special math right now. I just want to do writing. Singing and writing. Alright, the handmade shoes. She makes them herself. Scraps of red fabric. See how I dance so far in these red shoes of mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I can do the special math. I just have to keep it within the confines of the stanza. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how I dance in these red shoes of mine. Okay. See how I dance so fine in these red shoes of mine. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how I dance so fine in these red shoes of mine. made by my own two hands. See how I dance so fine in these red shoes of mine, made by, see how to dance so fine in these red shoes of mine, made by my own two hands. Once I did dance so fine in those red shoes of mine, made by my own two hands, from scraps throughout, of scraps. From scraps you understand. Once I did dance. Once I did dance. Once I did dance so fine in these red shoes of mine. In those red shoes of mine, made by my own two hands, from scraps you understand. Alright, so this is starting to look like something she would sing outside of the executioner's house. Would actually... Ooh! Dialogue! Yes! Inadvertent musical dialogue! Sorry, got myself all excited. That was noisy. Once I did dance so fine. Once I did dance so fine in those red shoes of mine, made... What is going on? What's going on with those first notes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. 3, 4, 5, 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I did dance so fine in those red shoes of mine, made by my own two hands, from scraps to understand. On two hands. From scraps you understand. From scraps you understand. Alright, so 6 lines of 5 syllables each has been swapped around. Understand. From scraps you understand. Once I did dance so fine in those those red shoes of mine, made by my own two hands, from scraps to understand, from scraps to understand, made by my own two hands. Pieced by my own two hands, from scraps to understand, Invert the repetition. Pieced by my own two hands. Once I did dance so fine in those red shoes of mine, pieced by my own two hands, from scraps to understand, pieced by my own two hands. Then I was taken in, but I was taken in. But I was taken in. Ooh, and that has a nice seduction element, that line. But I was taken in. By one who called gift a sin. By one who called gift. By one who called gift a sin. But I was taken in. By one who called. By one who called it sin. By one who called it sin. But I was taken in. By one who called it sin. Once I did dance so fine in those red shoes of mine, pieced by my own. Once I did dance so fine in those red shoes of mine, pieced by my own two hands, from scraps to understand, pieced by my own two hands. But I was taken in by one who called it sin. Who called it sin. To be without. Once I did dance so fine in those red shoes of mine, pieced by my own two hands, from scraps to understand, pieced by my own two hands. But I was taken in by one who called it sin. To be without. No, without. To, no, don't. Be. Because you can only fit 3 more syllables on that line, Rose. Right there, line 3. You can only fit 3 more syllables. Silly Rosie. but I was taken in by one who called it sin. By one who called them sin. Because then I can maneuver it toward the problem. But I was taken in by one who called them sin, and soon put in their place. Soon then they're in their place. Soon after, 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 in their place. Once I did dance so fine in those red shoes of mine, pieced by my own two hands, from scraps to understand, pieced by my own two hands. Then I was taken in, but I was taken in by one who called them sin. Soon after, in their place. For soon after I did taste, and after in their place. I'll just do forces. And after in their place. La, 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 la. Oh, it's now 11:01, which means it's time for our wrap-up. So let's get squared away with that. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Rose Your Music, your live stream writing accountability partner, here every day from, sorry, this thing didn't do what I wanted. Here every day from 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for 2 hours of live stream writing accountability. After which we do what we're now doing right here, which is the wrap-up chat. The share what you did wrap-up chat. So I'm going to briefly summarize what I got done in case you weren't reading along as I was doing it or listening along, because half of the time I was singing to myself trying to start writing a song for a thing. Ba-bum. And then after I've briefly summarized what all I got done, I'm going to pop into the chats on YouTube and Twitch to see what comments you made about what you got done during your morning writing, if you had me in the background as white noise, or any thoughts or questions you had about your writing process, your creative process, if you were doing something other than writing, or about my own process if you happened to have been reading along. So what I got done today was I buffered some narratives to make sure that my project, 31 Days of Narratives, I got a journal for questioning the crap out of your daily life, is getting regularly shared on those social media platforms where I'm not as proactive, which namely are Twitter, my Facebook page, and my LinkedIn profile. Then I edited the lesson for 31 Days of Narratives, the final draft that I'm working through now. I edited the lesson on task, pre-populated the reader update for Inkshares that will go along with that, and have a worksheet of travel miles. Then I wrote a journaling prompt that will go out in the Facebook group the same day that that reader update will be going out to people. Scheduled that journaling prompt since it's written, and I can schedule things on the Facebook group. Can't do that on Inkshares, which is why I have the Google's Doc setup that I do, where I'm just saving everything and color coding the text as a visual reference to myself as to what's been published yet and what hasn't. And then I got to work on the Red Shoes Boon. So I have a website called thegoldengooseeggs.com where I write articles breaking down usually what's going on archetypally in the story and immediately relating it to what can be going on in your own inner story and going on in your own daily life. A lot of times when people talk about fairy tales being irrelevant, they're just caught up in the surface details, which really only tell you what your contemporary context is in relation to the historical context in which the story you're upset with was published. So an article that I've written that'll be going out on the 30th on the Golden Goose Eggs, scheduled to be published, is about the red shoes. And Maria Tatar annotated it in a book that I have. Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who wrote Women Who Run with the Wolves, in that book does a full archetypal analysis of that story, hearkening back to the more ancient roots of the story. And because she already did that, I decided that I wasn't going to do an archetypal analysis. I was instead going to break down the historical context a little bit of when the story was published in 1845, and less historical context and more literary history context, and show why I think Hans Christian Andersen was intentionally writing about addiction and alcoholism in particular. But the words addiction and alcoholism weren't used in 1845. 1845 was about 25 years into the temperance movement, which was was the social movement that laid the groundwork for prohibition to be a thing. So prohibition being part of the more radical sort of approach to temperance, which is teetotaling, which means you're not just practicing temperance, which is about moderating your alcohol intake and having laws passed about what kinds of alcohol should and shouldn't be produced in order to help people practice temperance. But teetotaling was all about no one's allowed to drink and no one's allowed to make booze for people to drink, because people can't be trusted to stop themselves, and the substance itself is inherently sinful rather than the use of it is sinful. And it was a very, very Christian movement. But it was contemporary to the times that Hans Christian was living in, and around the time that the story was published, other writers were creating fiction around the topic of temperance. So it does make sense that he would write a story and especially have one of his darker fairy tales be about that story, be about that issue. And yeah, so that's what that article is going to be about. And when I publish articles for thegoldengooseeggs.com, Those articles go out every 20 days, and I have recently started the practice of 10 days after each article publishing a boon of some sort. Some little thing that helps people to act on whatever lessons were in the story, help them to sort of bring those lessons into their daily life in some way. And in the story, the little girl Karen, she meets the executioner who helps cut off her feet so that she doesn't have to keep dancing. And after he cuts off her feet, he makes her wooden feet, makes her a set of crutches, and teaches her the hymn or the psalm that the penitent sings. So I decided that I was going to write a little ditty for this particular story, trying to get at that theme, get at the archetypal things that Clarissa Pinkola Estes is talking about. And so that's what I spent the second half of the time, was trying to write that song, figuring out the melody, figuring out how the syllables of the melody carry through the stanzas, because I'm actually using it as a crossover for another poetry project wherein I'm writing a line of verse for every second in a 12-hour period, and the collection of verse is structured based on when the hands of the clock meet each other. So every second, like a line of verse for every second in a 12-hour period comes out to, is it 86,400 or is it 43,200 lines? Either way, that's a lot of lines of verse. And the minute hand crosses the hour hand 11 times over the course of a 12-hour period. So that's the end line of each volume. So there's 11 volumes of poetry for these 40-some or 80-some thousand lines of verse. I believe it's the 43,200. I believe that's what it is. That makes sense. That number makes sense. Anywho, so yes. Yeah, so that larger project, every poem in it is based on a different fairy tale or inspired by a different fairy tale. So I worked through the math. I already did all the math months ago, actually a little over a year ago, about all the different crossings of the hands. And so I went through all those numbers that I had pre-typed. I can show you that. Let's see. It'll be over here in Evernote. Just switch that window, cut to that. So you see here 6 lines for poem 117 in book 2. 6 lines. Second hand crosses hour hand at 4 minutes after 2 o'clock. Second 10. And the 10 seconds after 2:04. And then here in the red shoes, this final indentation, because I just worked out what story goes to which time signature, which timeline. Ho wordplay. And so the red shoes is here, poem 116 in book 2, 54 lines long, ending when the second hand crosses the minute hand 4 seconds after 2:04 in the afternoon, because I am looking at the use of the clock from noon to midnight for that sort of Cinderella time crunch feeling. So now I'm going to cut back to using my face, and I'm going to go into YouTube, see any comments. Paul Kemp says, I think I'll watch you on YouTube for a change. Thank you for following me on YouTube for a change, Paul Kemp. It's good to know that folks are crossing platforms a little bit. All right, and over here on Twitch, I'm seeing Open Door Writing says, lurking, good luck, thanks for streaming. You're welcome. Enjoy your time lurking here on Twitch, Open Door Writing. EWW Oh, Eugene says, okay, probably with all those H's, I'm guessing you came in when either I was explaining something or you were trying to... Okay, I'm just going to read what Eugene says. Okay, hello. What am I seeing here? Repetition of pieced by my own two hands sounds odd without something afterwards. If you echo, then echo full, pieced by my own two hands from scraps you understand. Shrug, dunno. I was drawing quick proses, 30 seconds each. Joined you 12 minutes ago? Shrug. Okay, so the repetition is I'm trying to work the phrasing with, here, I'll bring up my screen again so I can show you how all this is working. So in addition to the lines of the poem, like the end lines of the poems being decided by the crossings of the hands of the clock, I then have 54 lines as the constraints for this poem, for this song, and then here 5 syllables per line. And that's for every single poem in this 11-volume collection will have 5 syllables to each line of verse. And that is in order to match the phrase once upon a time. That's 5 syllables, and that was how I decided 5 syllables to a line. And so in the song that I started writing today, each musical phrase actually has 6 syllables to it, which means that I can fit 5 phrases to each 6-line stanza, because it's... So 6 lines of 5 syllables each means 30 syllables total. If I'm doing musical phrases of 6 syllables long, then that's going to be 5 musical phrases. So you're swapping the mathematical factors of 5 and 6 to get 30 syllables total. So I'm not going to be able over here to do pieced by my own 2 hands from scraps you understand, followed by pieced by my own 2 hands from scraps you understand. Instead, I could do pieced by my own 2 hands from scraps you understand, followed by from scraps you understand, or as I've done it here, pieced by my own 2 hands from scraps you understand, pieced by my own 2 hands. And so what that does is you have these 3 musical phrases, 6 syllables long, with the third phrase being a repetition of the first. And the second phrase, in terms of the words used, being structured in a way so that I could say, pieced by my own 2 hands from scraps you understand, could also just be written out as, from scraps you understand, pieced by my own 2 hands. And so the emphasis is on what she is doing and what she has done, because this is the acceptance part of the poem. I'm structuring this song a little bit on the Serenity Prayer, which goes, accept what cannot be changed, courage to change what cannot be changed, wisdom to know one from the other. So this first section of 3 stanzas, each being 6 lines long, is about accepting her past, accepting what has happened to her, and what she has done as a result of what was happening to her. And so I wanted that last section to end on a note of ownership and creativity, pieced by my own 2 hands. She pieced them together. So that is more important than what the shoes are made out of. And that's also going to be part of how I work the rest of the stanzas going through this particular song. So that is what all I've got done today, what I'm working on. I see I still have some viewers. If there's anything else that you want to say about what all I was working on, or how it's coming together, or what you're working on and how that's coming together. Eugene says they were drawing quick proses, 30 seconds each. I wonder, Eugene, are you still watching? Can you tell me what you were doing quick poses of? Was it couldn't have been me, because I wasn't being too interesting except for the tea making portion. I say tea. It's mint tea cocoa. I make peppermint tea and then I sweeten it with cocoa. So if you saw me like really piling in the cocoa before, it's mostly baking cocoa and less sugar. I think. It's definitely less sugar. It's more like 2 little teaspoons of sugar and 2 teaspoons of cocoa. Or 3 teaspoons of each because... Or 2.5 teaspoons of each, because I don't know if I did 4 scoops or 5 scoops, because I was talking and singing to myself when I did it. All right. It doesn't look like there's anything else going on in the chat today, and that is totally cool, because you probably have things to do today, and I have things to do today, because, you know, adulting and life and things. So, thank you very much for joining me today. I'm Roaster Music, your live stream writing accountability partner. I'm here every day from 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for 2 hours of live stream writing accountability, where you can have me in the background as white noise for whatever you happen to be working on, or you can always, you know, read along with whatever I happen to be doing. I'm glad you were able to join me for the wrap-up chat today, where I briefly summarized what all I got done and responded to all comments made on both YouTube and Twitch, per usual. I look forward to talking to you about your creative projects and my creative projects in the future, and also finishing this song so that I don't have to distract anyone too much who prefers to keep me in the background for their own writing, because I know I'm not that great at getting any writing done when I can hear somebody else's voice, somebody else's words, fill in my head when I need to be just have my head geared toward my own words. Totally understand if you muted me or went away at any point. Also, right now, Mr. Rogers is streaming on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Mr. Rogers. So please, please do yourself a favor and watch a little bit of that in the coming days. Because, oh, it's Mr. Rogers, you guys. Come on. And it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Good journey, my friends.